You know, you guys, just a little while back, when the Oklahoma City Thunder originally initiated what might eventually go down as one of the craziest rebuilds we ever see in NBA history, it finally feels like we're actually starting to see the draft pick overhaul that they've been seeking out over the last couple of years. Because after recently being able to acquire your top 3 talent in the 2022 draft in Chet Holmgren, while myself and I'm sure many others alongside me were extremely excited to see what he would be able to do at the pro level, which of course unfortunately was shut down very quickly due to injury for the entire season, and if we're being honest, probably gave a fair amount of casual NBA fans that much less of a reason to watch OKC this year. But trust me, I will be the first person to tell you that with this Thunder team already on pace to shatter their preseason expectations, that they're surprising almost everyone that's paying attention in ways that we might have not expected to see out of them at least this early, so let's get into it. One sec though guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to drop a like on the video if you enjoy, and subscribe to never miss another NBA video. But before we go any further, today's video is brought to you by our friends at SeatGeek. With SeatGeek being known as the top-rated ticketing app on the marketplace, trust me, they absolutely live up to their reputation. Because whether you're looking for basketball, football, concerts, or even festivals, SeatGeek has tickets for almost anything that comes to mind. And the best part is that SeatGeek will always work to make sure you get the best deal possible. Because if the seats you're checking out are labeled green, it's a very solid deal you got in front of you. But if they're labeled red on the other hand, there might just be better options if you keep looking. But even with SeatGeek having your back, they're also willing to hook you guys up even further with an extra $20 off your first purchase when you use our code HOOPS20 at checkout. Once again, that is code HOOPS20, so make sure to go to the link in our bio to download the SeatGeek app today. Now, to get back on topic with the Oklahoma City Thunder, to very briefly touch back on their top draft selection this season in Chet Holmgren, while he very likely was going to take up a majority of the spotlight for OKC this season, as most top draft picks in his position would, whether that be for good or for bad, while Chet's chance to wow us all will obviously come in due time, as he will undoubtedly add a very interesting dynamic to this team, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But in case any of you guys outside of OKC forgot, or for some reason you just don't care, there are 2 other rookie lottery picks showcasing their game right now, and one of them that some of you watching might still not even know who he is, but I know we've been a huge fan of him here on the channel for quite some time, and that is Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara. And again, to the point of some of you probably not knowing him, if you were to take a look at the names of every lottery pick from the prior 2022 drafts, Jalen Williams is probably the name to general NBA fans that sticks out the least. And I also know, with pulling up his base numbers so far this season, some of you might be asking yourselves, why in the world am I talking about this man? Well, because you could actually make the argument that he is putting up one of the better campaigns across the entire league when you're considering all rookies. Because for a 21-year-old like this, who already has an above league average true shooting percentage, and in fact it's also one of the best on his own team already so far, the way he has fit rather seamlessly into the operation of this team, which can be seen in the fact that he is already one of the top rotational guys this early on, and also the fact that the league is actually recognizing him by recently awarding him the Western Conference Rookie of the Month. So yeah, I think it's pretty clear in these situations, as we've stated time and time again here on the channel, that numbers don't always tell the full story, but if they don't, what am I trying to get at here? Well, for Jalen Williams, who really didn't seem to jump up as a top prospect to many until a couple months prior to the draft, and even then when OKC took him at number 12 overall, some were still considering that a reach, but with his extremely unique size and wingspan for his skill set, his ability to create his own offense at almost any point he desires, and also even his ability to thrive in off-ball movement situations, getting easy buckets in the paint or even setting up for shots outside, which is also another area of his game that will likely eventually jump up to the production we saw at the college level, while J. Will at this current point in time might be the most outstanding project on OKC in terms of player development, which, to be honest with you, is practically their entire roster, is also most certainly not the only one we need to be paying attention to. Because if we want to stay on the topic of rookies, we also have the guy that was selected 1 pick before Jalen Williams in Ousmane Dieng, which might even have a case of having a higher potential ceiling, while he's currently actually one of the younger players in the entire league at this point, and he's kind of jumping around from G League to the pros, goes, there's absolutely no reason to think that while yes, he is one of, if not the biggest projects on this team, that he won't be able to add serious two-way abilities to the Thunder very soon. But then to even move on from the topic of their rookies, once again, when you look at almost anyone on this roster, aside from maybe 1 to 2 players, they can all be considered still developing. But what I think a lot of people seem to forget about all of these draft selections that OKC has had over the last couple of years is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a star or bust scenario for all of these guys that I think many people interpret it as. Because in fact, most of these guys for OKC have been continuing to silently perfect their craft and most importantly, know their role, which in turn has led to OKC's unexpected success. And just for quick reference to this, you got guys like Diamond in the Rough Lou Dort, who has only continually improved, it seems at least, since he's entered the league. Others like Tre Mann, who is still extremely young, but is also very under-recognized for what he's been able to bring to the table. And even Aleksej Pokusevski, which I'm sure to many outsiders was nothing more than a meme, is slowly becoming one of the more insanely efficient stretch bigs in the league that honestly nobody would have expected. But with all of this, I'm sure absolutely nobody paying attention to OKC's rebuild situation thought it would be anywhere near the definition of quick. And while I'm also not trying to technically say that myself, I'm just saying they might end up sneaking their way into contention a lot more than some people probably would have bet on. But of course, with all the seeming role players and works in progress that we've mentioned so far, I'm willing to guess that some of you have already left a comment along the lines of, this team will go nowhere no matter what they do without acquiring some star power. And well, to this, let me introduce to you, if you haven't heard of them already, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey. Now I know there might be some backlash no matter which way we tip the focus in this, so let me get into it. And to start with SGA, absolutely none of you can argue the fact that he's developing into a star, because that's not the case. He's developing into a superstar in front of our eyes. And if his absurd increase in offensive output wasn't enough to tell you this, I'm sure his increased efficiency right alongside it should solidify that point for you. Regardless though, if SGA continues to put up these numbers, I know there's some people out there that won't give him all of the credit he deserves if he's putting up these numbers on a team that's not doing much. But if OKC can retain Shai for the foreseeable future, there's no reason to think this team isn't going anywhere but up. And then, of course, we have Josh Giddey, which I don't think it's a stretch to say by any means that he is slowly solidifying himself as the number 2 option on this team already. I think he's a very interesting situation for most people, whether they're OKC fans or not, that view his game. Because in today's day and age, where scoring is pretty much the biggest factor in terms of who is considered a star or not, while I'm not trying to say that Giddey's scoring should be completely disregarded, but with him, it's more so the case of finding a happy median between him being able to get up shots and also facilitate. And I mean, sure, with the numbers he's putting up right now, I know absolutely nobody would be complaining if he eventually jumped into the 20-point per game category, but with his gift in court vision and IQ, he makes much more of an impact in the areas that most people typically don't pay attention to. I mean, is Josh Giddey going to become a star? Is Jalen Williams going to develop even more than he already has? And is OKC just going to continue to exceed expectations that were put on them? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure, but as with everything we discuss here on the channel, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Nonetheless though, you guys, with everything that we've mentioned so far regarding the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm of course also extremely curious to hear what you all have to think about their situation. So please be sure to let me know in the comments what has surprised you the most about the OKC Thunder so far this season, and also, do you think SGA is going to be able to keep up his MVP caliber pace as the season goes on? But again, you guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to drop a like on the video if you enjoy, and of course, subscribe while you're down there. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.